Good evening. This is Mabel Boycott with another hot topic for the inflow. I wanted to say to all of you a great revelation. I wanted to sue the Catholic Church for the infringement of my civil rights, the infringement of my career, my family well-being, my socio-economic standing, and the falsehood of their moral standing against God, the citizens of this country, and the citizens and followers of the whole world. Many of you have heard about my rebuttal of the papacy line, for we are a church of Gentiles that didn't belong to the chosen race of the Hebrew line, from whom Jesus, the Messiah, was born. Many knows him as the Word incarnate, for he is Joshua, the prophet for the Muslim, and he came to teach us about Allah's law. Also, he came to teach us as Emmanuel, God among us, for God has given to the Hebrew people the laws in the Torah, so they will preserve themselves. Why he chose these people from this land of Palestine, because they were monotheistic in a land that believed in many gods, and they believed in a creator, not on the creatures or the virtues of man. Therefore, that is why God will first accompany spiritually the people of Israel during the history of the Pentateuch, that is in the Torah, in the Hebrew writings, scriptures. In the Bible, we have included, beside that history of Israel, we had the Gospels, that is the recount and retelling of the life of Jesus, that is the incarnate Word, because John says at the beginning was God, and God was the Word, and when the Word said beget, everything was begotten, and God was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word came down in a virgin, for she has to be pure, and took her vessels, took her flesh, and became man, and walked the land, the Arabian land, from Palestine to Syria, Turkey, and all the region. And that is why that region has been facing wars one way or another, because evil didn't like that was a holy land. Now, talking about evil, Peter was the leader with, I would say, John and the apostles that Jesus had at the beginning. There were 11, not 12, 11, because one betrayed him. And then it was up to man, not to Jesus, to select another one in his place. And God condemned, Jesus condemned man thinking and reasoning and decision making for the church, thing that the papacy has destroyed in Vatican I, 1890s, and in Vatican II, reaffirmed, giving the Pope the authority for Whatever he says is law. And that's an authority that Jesus doesn't give to anyone. The infallibility of Pope is a man-made research and decision. It is not in the Bible. And also, there are tips that tells you that when Jesus died, left, he appears in Damascus, Syria, to a zealous Jew from the land of Tarsus, Turkey. He spoke several languages, Greek and Hebrew, and he was zealous of God, and he was exterminating or persecuting, better say, the Christians of the time, because it was against his faith. But for some reason, Jesus picked him when he appeared and said, "What are you persecuting me?" Wow. I say, when? When you are persecuting my followers. Now, you have to take into account this, because that man, Saul of Tarsus, became Paul the Apostle. This man was to preach to the Gentiles, and from there we were incorporated into the Christianity that changed time to be before Deo and after Christ. It changed time because Paul was a man that changed the course of history by spreading a growing church far beyond our imagination. And because that evil said, we cannot fight, we are killing them in Rome, by the Romans, in that wonderful round place. It's more a mausoleum than anything, because there were many Christians that died there for entertainment of the Roman civilization. Bloody murders. And Rome was known for being polytheistic, as well as Greece. But as any great society whose foundations are not based in God and virtue, they came into decadence and libertinage. Just as we and many countries of the world are going, because we have accepted the infringement of the moral principles that in America was the foundation of this country. Anyway, that's out of the way. We belong to the Church of the Gentiles. That is where this Catholic Church became, and they stole it because it was supposed to be ruled by elders, 7 in total, and that was said by Paul and said by Peter. The rock wasn't Peter. The rock is the Word of God that combined in heaven and on earth. The rock is the key to the kingdom. No Peter. Peter is a human, and minutes later, when God says, "I'm going to die in the passion," he said, "No, my Lord, that may not ever happen that to you." And what Jesus said to him? "Move away, Satan, you out of my way, because you are thinking as man, and that didn't come from God." And when he talked about Jesus being the Christ, the Son of God, Jesus said to him, "Be glad, son of Jonah, for today you have found the truth," como cualquiera. He will say, "You have found the truth." I don't have the scripture here, but paraphrasing it. Then he called him Peter, as he could have called, "You hit the big lotto, my friend Smarty." He said, "Yeah, Peter, you hit the rock. You found the diamond." The rock is the Word of God, because that thinking of yours wasn't yours as a man, but was given to you by God. What is telling about the papacy? Pure baloney, because there is not a Peter's seat, a holy seer. There is no such a thing, a holy seer. I myself, I am not a holy seer as such. I call myself the one that speaks to the holies because they decided to talk to me and I decided to defend them, even to the point of death. So now that out of the way, I accusing the church for the falsehood in their teachings, for the falsehood in the moral standings, for a pope that has afflicted his parishioners with apostasy, and the priesthood with black magic. A pope that has allowed many things to happen and that have stopped me from sharing the messages received for redemption of the world. I want to sue them for $100 million, 30% as to the payment of the lawyers, but nobody wants to take the risk because they fear the magic of Pope. $30% as the payment for upholding the American security. We had to protect America also. For my experience with Grand Rapids is a small token to what can happen to America. The safety of 40,000 priests is something also in consideration because 40,000 priests are American citizens that received the call of Jesus trying to sanctify a church that never came to be sanctified. And that of 66 million of parishioners who knowingly are being led by the foreign interests of the Peter Romanos, that means apostata, the unauthorized head of the church, into fallacy of doctrine. I want secession, for he has violated our separation of church and state, and also because under his authority I had been wrongly stripped of belongings of sentimental value. This is a very important case, for it will put to debate the papal authority versus the authority of God incarnate, the real world versus the spiritual world that holds the truthfulness of God's teaching, the paranormal. I have been in a peculiar position at this respect for 10 years. I have gathered factual evidence, and it is time to bring to public my knowledge of the bastardy of the black magic of Pope and 1,500 people that he has influenced and appointed all around the world. Now, I also want to tell you that it is hard to talk about the paranormal because the paranormal, there is no science that can measure. That is what is called paranormal, out of the normality. But I can tell you, pain is real. How I was initiated is real. Flaws in the behavior, they make mistakes while dealing with me, is real. At the beginning, I thought the saints were forged in the womb of the church because they asked me to keep a secret when they were hooked into my mind. They hooked myself into their minds, and I have been a prisoner of their thoughts and their minds and their powers for 10 years. Not to say my children that I didn't know unaware. They started when I took them to be baptized because the idiot of Mashevique despises sainthood and holy people. So, but let's keep it to myself, what I have felt, what I have seen, and what I have lived. My darlings, I have experienced telekinesis by them. I have experienced pain caused by them. I have experienced curses put on me. I have heard them menacing many people that I contacted, and I have found myself with closed doors. There is nobody that can do justice to me and to my family for what we have lost, because Pope and his Idios was soon are always putting spells on people to change their mind or telling them keep the secret, keep shut, or else. Well, I am not afraid of dying, for I had died for my God 1,000 times, and now I am opening this because this is what He wants. He wants to clean the church of all black magic. He wants those beasts that have lost their humanity to murders, because I know of 3 murders, factual murders, and that I denounced it in my previous videos, and that were consent and known by Pope. And in the case of the killing of Quintana, of the artist that sculpted the Virgin of Guadalupe in San Francisco Xavier, Grand Rapids, when I confronted Quintana, he heard me. I posted for my life was in danger, so I started posting everything. Heavenly locutions.com, heavenly-locutions.com. You can see there all that you should be aware that's going on in the Catholic Church and who are responsible. When I posted there, the person, the soul of the artist said that he escaped, and I hear Pope talking to Quintana say, "You idiot, I told you to kill him." Ta-da-da-da. But Quintana is a murderer by himself, he's a serial killer, and he didn't act at the beginning because orders of Pope, but Pope did order to kill the soul so he wouldn't speak, or the paranormal wouldn't know what happened. Thank you very much. I'm gonna leave it here. I hope and I ask for your support. Like this Twitter as much as you can, or question me, invite me for a debate. You want disclosure? I will give you full disclosures. Thank you very much. Think about people. This is the call, not from my own, but this is the last charge that I give to humanity, because it is your life, it is your world. There is not all the paradise, there is not all the promised land. Heaven is far from you because you haven't achieved the sophistication of the spirit that you carry. This body is nothing else but the chip to navigate the circumstances of life, sometimes tough, like in Syria, sometimes for some very easy, and for some they make of it the lowest passions that they can. Everybody was left free in this world to choose God or not. I'd rather with the pain go with God, because it's a matter of dignity, it's a matter of humanity. I am not going to bend to criminals or to perversion. I'd rather to be dead. And I offer my death to the God that gave me the principles and the righteousness to go on. Thank you very much. I wish you to pay attention to this, for the Messianic Church is at the verge to become, if the Catholic Church do amendment, do the following amendment: secession, pay the fine, and make you recover your money by doing senior affordable retirement for priests that, according to the data, in few years they are not going to have retirement payments, because there are some dioceses that are way in the red. And Social Security is going to only pay them around $6,000 a year. That is not going to be able to pay for shelter and for food. So I was planning, and I created a way for them to find affordable retirement, assisted and independent living. The other thing, and I was wanting to find a way for the church to recoup by dealing and locking the properties for me to buy first at good price, make them partners, and give part of the dividends for a fund that will supplement the retirement income. Then I was also going to add to it healthcare provision that I want also for the world, and especially for America, for INPO Global, and that means a company that is designed for the development of disadvantaged places in the world. Places, because it's not only people, it's region, towns, villages, etc. Is the practicality and the application here and now of the sustainable goals. You didn't hear my speech on peace, you better go back and find it and listen to it now. That was another thing. And the teaching, reteaching of the church, the one that was stalling from Christianity and the Gentiles, how God was designing it to be carried out. What is the means for our salvation? And the third part is there are the three main religions of the world with three holy books that contain, affected or not. And I think that as Peter put his reasoning into the Bible and was out of the way, so we had done with all the rest of the apostles, once in a while putting the reasoning and out of the way, homiletics, damage the stuff, and we don't want regurgitated by somebody else. We want the teachers as the master of teaching taught us to do it. Okay? So there is going to be restoration of the church, restoration of the liturgy. We have the Quran, yes, you judge the Muslim, don't judge nobody, you don't have that right. Father chose the Arab land, and for each of the different ethnicities that he designed to receive his word, he created a scripture that was addressing that culture. The culture of the Gentile in the Gospel, the culture of the Hebrew in the Torah, and the conversion and the revelations by the angel Gabriel to Muhammad, the prophet, for the Islam. And the Islam does make saints. If they can make holy people, then they have the grace of God in it. Now, good night.